It would maybe appear that Disney is kind of learning some lessons. Really interesting article here from Bounding into Comics. If you remember, they were going to do a Rocketeer reboot. Well, it doesn't appear that that's going to happen. Maybe it will still show up. Kind of like Tomb Raider. There's some version of Tomb Raider still coming. I think the show was always going to come, but whatever Phoebe Waller-Bridge was going to do with it got corrected. But basically, this Rocketeer movie, which was going to have a race swap, is no longer happening. And that the only reason that Disney was really interested in doing it is because of the BLM DEI boom that happened a few years ago. And, well, as you've seen, those policies are starting to become very annoying to a lot of people. And because of that, Hollywood is walking a lot of it back. So we see more of that in other reports like this. Report Disney ABC executives asked the View host to tone down the Trump bashing. Very interesting. And like I said, I don't know if any of this is true, but I could believe it because I'm sure that it's turning a lot of people off. Remember, half of the country voted for that man. So it doesn't pay to be hostile to the 80-something million people. But this brings us to this very interesting article. A lot of X-Men rumors out there. And this is a rumor, but it's an interesting one. And it's over what to do with the future of the X-Men. There's a lot of reports out there on casting, such as this person playing Storm. Awful idea. I really hope that's not true. But to be fair, like I said before, it's a rumor that they're talking to her, and that's all. It may very well be that they're just talking to her. I really hope that they pick somebody better. She looks nothing like Storm. It'd be a horrible, horrible press tour attached to this. She'd be crying all the time. Please, God, no. Just bring back the girl who played her in the First Class team. I mean, that makes sense. She's still pretty young. There's also the rumor that I'm starting to really believe, which is Magneto and Professor X being based off of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because I mean, that's, if you want to jump into social commentary, what better way than to go that route? That has popped up so many times, I think that there's something to it. Kevin Feige, very into social commentary. He has peppered it all over Marvel Phase 4 and 5. So, I do believe he wants to make the X-Men jump right into social commentary and identity politics. And are those things a part of X-Men? A little bit. Yeah, there's a lot of that shit in there, but it's well done usually. For example, like X-Men is always mutants versus humans. It's how you do that makes a difference. And the problem with X-Men of recent, other than X-Men 97, the comics are all about commentary on modern day shit, and it's really on the nose. Chris Claremont, when he did it, was very talented at it and could make it work. The Bryan Singer movies handled it well, and so did the First Class movies. They put the story first, and the adventure was there. They were a lot of fun. It's not fun when it's on your nose and in your face. And it ages it, and it just doesn't work. And you take a lot of these activist writers and put them on this shit, they can't do it. X-Men 97 did it really well. And it's a shame that Bo DeMeo guy doesn't, like, that guy, if you want somebody to run the X-Men movies, kind of be like an executive producer, like that would have been the guy to have do it. He did a really good job with that show. in my opinion. But apparently Feige and Bob Iger are fighting about what to do because Iger wants them to tone it down. And if you go by a lot of these reports, I think that there might be something to that. And as they point out in here, like, what are the only two real successful movies in the Marvel landscape over the past couple of years? No Way Home and Wolverine and Deadpool, or Deadpool and Wolverine. Other than that, it's just been bust after bust after bust. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I forgot. Sorry. According to X-user Main Middleman, Kevin Feige originally planned a grounded, socially driven X-Men film centered on mutant identity and conflict with the Brotherhood of Mutants. However, Disney executives reacting to recent box office disappointments of Thunderbolts and Captain America pushed for a more action-heavy, spectacle-focused script aimed at mass appeal. It's claimed the final version of the X-Men movie will prioritize blockbuster elements and fan service. Imagine that. Imagine that. Let's make some money. That's what Bob Iger says. Feige wanted a more grounded X-Men story with a plot that focused on social issues and disagreements about what it means to be a mutant. He wanted a powerful, dramatic movie that really showed what the X-Men were all about, with the Brotherhood of Mutants as the bad guys. But that's not what Iger and Disney want. Aware of the poor performance and more restrained films, especially the disappointing box office results like CA4 and Thunderbolts recently, the script has been requested to focus on a great event film to get a wider audience attention. So expect a MCU first X-Men movie with a huge focus on events, focusing the box office with more action and fan service. Ideological issues will carry on, but they will be less important than dealing with something bigger. So they saw the box office for Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like, we got to get more of that money. So they're going to cut it out. I believe that they want to do that. Will that happen, though? Keep in mind, this is a rumor. But, yeah, are they probably talking about what to do here? Sure. And Feige, man, I think it's time for Feige to go. I think it's time for fresh blood. And this is regardless of what they're going to do with this freaking movie. I think it's time for new blood to come into Marvel. I think you should get rid of all of the executives. Maybe you keep one or two of them kind of as like, advice and mentors, and you bring in new blood to run Marvel to kind of try to right this ship. I mean, what do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? And I understand they're trying to do that now, apparently, and we'll see how that works out, but I just think it's time for Feige to go. He really wants to work on Star Wars. Let him go over there. Let him take over Kathleen Kennedy's seat. Or let him answer to her. He could be her number two, and then eventually snake her and get her out of there like he did the other people at Marvel. That's a possibility, but they've got to do something. Focusing on action in a big event, maybe Genosha, that could be something. And you could still kind of throw in some social commentary with that, but the action in the event would kind of still overshadow that. Like, you'd have Master Mold in there. Like, you could do something cool there that I think a lot of people would like. So we'll see. My expectations are low, and I do think they're going to lean hard into that MLK, Malcolm X thing, which is a huge mistake, especially when you consider that you could bring in Fassbender, have him play Magneto. I mean, they're also him and the guy who played, I forget his name, but the guy who played Professor X, they're both still young enough to play the roles. In fact, they're the perfect age now to play those characters in their older years, and you could keep them around for a long time, and you could easily use the incursion stuff to move them into the new world and still have Magneto, especially, still a victim of World War II atrocities, which is like the foundation of that character. But, you know, Marvel's going to Marvel. Anyway, I've got a comic book out there. Check out the description. There's a link to it. You can grab cover D for $17, a good price. You can jump right in. That's the lowest price book. We've got a couple other covers at different prices, but $17. Check it out. Link in the description. Also, if you would, please comment, like, subscribe, share the video, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
The year is 1945. World War II rages from the halls of Buckingham Palace to the shores of the Nile River. Even now, the clash between freedom and tyranny is about to boil over. Somewhere in North Africa, 2 American flyboys are soaring high on a reconnaissance mission, searching for clues to a peculiar new obsession, with the occult gripping the Nazi high command.